All right, welcome back to our virtual studios, but we'll still call them our Colombo studios. We're just going to set up our show here, which is the Fifth District Stories from the Street, and it's going to be starring Billy
Oh, it's
Noonan, Tony Boone, and Joe Cruz. And we had a good time the other day, didn't we, boys?
yeah, they
Yeah,
were great.
that was a great show. I really enjoyed that.
How do you describe Billy? That was he's just a character that we always call people characters. He's one of the biggest character I know.
He's a character legend. There's character legends, and he's one of them.
What's cool about him though? He was such a good policeman. Knew all the names, which I always found out early on that was important. You know all the people in your blocks and in your district. He knew them all, and they all respected him, but they also all feared him too
Right.
because
Bill
they knew if
Bill
you
was
were.
one of the toughest guys I ever met. You know,
Yeah,
he's a nice guy. He's a gentle, soul until you get that, you hit that wrong button, and then he's something else.
you can't
That's
teach what he has. I don't think.
exactly. It's an innate ability,
Yeah,
and he could talk to the people on the street the way they respected to be and talk a little harsh to him, but they respected him anyway. So
right.
he was fun to be around, even when things were tough in the Fifth District. He was always fun to just have around. So it's a great show. And then Joe and Tony.
Yeah.
Joe and Tony grew up together on the net team, which you guys will find out, which is the narcotic enforcement team that was run out of Central Patrol. And then Joe and Tony also went to Mobile Reserve together, and they spent a ton of time in that Fifth District, didn't you guys, JJ, when you guys were riding in that mobile?
Yeah, I'll say, and I should give them credit too. I mean, those are two of the best policemen that I know that I ever worked with. Boone was a dogged investigator. Joe Cruz was also a pit bull he'd search, we'd all give up searching houses, and he'd be in there by himself. And we were like, "Come on, Joe, let's go." And he'd come out with the find and with the hidden.
Yep.
The one time he went up in the attic for like an hour. We thought we were done, and he comes out with a kilo. He might have talked about that story once before, but he's just one of the smartest street policemen that I know. And when he's a commander of DEI, drug enforcement. Where else was he? He was in this species units. He always under plain clothes. He always ran the shit when we were on the street looking following somebody or doing something. He's a sharp street policeman. I always thought him and Boone are two of the best street coppers I've ever been around for sure.
That was evident. And then one of the stories that we mentioned in there was when he found a gun on a search warrant we did when we were in the MVOP. I quickly mentioned that
Yeah.
in the episode, and yeah, he found a gun in the attic after all of us were like, "Come on, man, let's go." And he came out with this gun, and we're okay. So
I
yeah,
told I have a story that one time he really got mad at me. Me and Jim Patterson, and we're riding three deep, and we're driving. It's late, and we'd make relief from the street back in the day when Joe was our sergeant. So it's late. It's almost 2 o'clock, and Joe calls relief, and Cruz sees something that he likes, and the police stops. Pepe or Jimmy Patterson, we call him Pepe, and we just wanted to go home. It was a long night, and Joe Cruz, he grabbed this guy and he's running. The guy's playing the name game and lying about his name. He knew it. We all knew it. And Patterson and we didn't care. We just wanted to go. Joe got so mad at us that he wouldn't. He dropped off Patterson first. I wish he'd have dropped me off home first, but he wouldn't talk to me for the entire ride. He was so pissed off at us. And if I wish I would have brought it up because I think he's still mad at me to this day. But he's such a policeman that he ended up finding out who he was like a day or two later with his looking through the computer. He finally found out who that guy was. He was lying about his name, and he did have a warrant on him.
so you
Wasn't a
just had
really
to, and he
serious
made
one.
sure he mentioned that to you too. I'm sure.
Oh my God, he was mad at me. I thought, uh-oh, he ain't gonna talk to me ever again. But obviously that's a lie. We're good buddies.
One of the things too that we want to do, and we're going to start it this Thursday. So we've got a couple things coming up Thursday. But one of the things we want to do is have our Monday guest, and we've got some really good shows coming up. We're going to have our Monday guests that you guys will listen to on Mondays, and we're going to make them part of our live show. So when you guys have comments and questions, leave them in the whatever platform you watch it on. Leave a comment, leave a question, and we can answer those on the Thursday live show. Or you can join us and chime in with your questions. We want to get a lot more interactive with our listeners, and we have some loyal listeners there on our live show that we're going to start having more fun with and interact with more questions. And this is a good episode because we're not going to, there was no way we could mention all the gangsters and all the dope sets and all the dope houses and the murders. But if you guys want to, if you guys are, what about that one or what about this one? Leave it in the comments and we'll talk about it on Thursday. And then next week we have the O'Brien family murders coming up that we mentioned quickly on our live show last week. The O'Brien family and Mark was he retired not too long ago. He's battling some health issues, and his two brothers and his mother were all killed within the city limits. His mother back in 1952, so that was a while back. But his two brothers were more recently here, and I believe one in the 90s and one in the early 2000s. Yep. And all three of them remain unsolved. And, for a family to go through that, I just couldn't imagine it. But we're gonna spotlight the two brothers' murders and see if we can't rustle up some clues or something to help the family out, get some closure. We mentioned in last week's show that Mark is up against it, and we would just love to get some information that can spark those investigations and help the O'Brien family out.
Mark never let this go either. He continues to investigate it, and didn't he have some updates like recently that he's got some hope for some people came forward or something like that?
There's some things brewing, I believe.
Right.
Frank Brostrom, who was our FBI agent that we had on a while back, he's worked on this as a private investigator. So he knows the O'Brien family and he's talked to all of them, and he'll be on with us too. So that's coming up next Monday, and then we'll have them on, via the, hopefully, if and that's, obviously having the guests on Thursday at the point is according to their availability. So not every time, but that's what we're going to try to do, and I think that makes it a good way to keep everybody interactive, and especially when we're doing these patrolling the certain areas and districts, is get some of these policemen on and tell their stories, and then have a little fun with them on Thursdays, and have a little fun with us. And I think that'll make our live shows a little bit more fun, and what's coming up each week, and we'll continue to do our stuff too, our shenanigans such as JJ Zen. But that's our live show. So
an interesting thing about Mark is he left the department he was on, and he left to open a business. And he didn't like the business world. He wanted to come back on the department, but he was gone so long, he had to go through the whole police academy again. So he actually went through a full police academy twice in his career.
Yeah, I think he was like 47 or something like that when he went through it the second time.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, pretty impressive.
Not too many people have that kind of.
Well, I was talking to it was Mike Barra, and Mike Barra went to high school with him, and I let him know, him and Hef. I was talking, and he said that Mark was not to be trifled with in high school. He might have been undersized a little bit, but Mike said, make no mistake, he was not to be trifled with. He could go.
I love that.
And now he's up against it, and we pray for him, and and like I said, it'd be really neat for us to just get some kind of break that might help the family out, get a little closure on this whole thing, or one or both or anything, because 3, that's a lot. But JJ, before we get to your Zen, did you? I heard you got some motorcycle people screwing around downtown and got them good.
Well, we got one. He was jumped the sidewalk around Tucker, and they got a little caught in traffic. And then one of the officers that works for me, Todd Leahy, he jumped out of the police car and caught him, grabbed him off the bike. He kind of fell, then he took off running, and he got tased. He did a hard landing after he got tased, but he convicted felon, had a pistol on him. Older guy too, but ended up being a pretty nice guy, except we keep telling him this isn't their playground downtown. And so it's my motto, or my thing I say to every one of them. So, but I hope we towed it. So he lost his bike and he went to jail for jumping the sidewalk, which I don't quite understand the reason why they come down here and do such things. But then
you have that motto. Do you remember Roberta Hawthorne at all? She was a cat classmate of mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Roberta used to walk the footbeats down there. And when she would stop people, she'd say, "Let me see your money." She said, and they would say, "Man, I ain't got no money." She said, "There ain't shit down here for free. You need to get on out of here."
She was a hard ass worker, Roberta.
Yes.
I'm going to write that down. I'm going to use that.
Because she was and I watched her do it. I was just laughing. And those were the days. I mean, you could actually tell people that this isn't a playground. It's not to be loitered. It's not a loitering area too. Just get on out. And there goes JJ.
JJ's tired.
JJ's tired. Yeah, he got bored. So we'll be chiming him back in.
Can we have Campbell Security go look for him?
Exactly. We need. But I kind of want to lump all of our sponsors in on this show because we're not going to. This will be one of our first shows that we're not going to be advertised, or we're not going to let YouTube advertise on our show here, and it's because of the support of our sponsors, Columbo's Cafe. I'm going to get JJ back on here because of Columbo's Cafe and Tavern and Schicker Automotive, Corby Campbell and Campbell Security Group, Vale Accounting Services, Prime Performance, Riverman Cigar Company, and Fairway Automotive. Now, we gave them all a lot of love on Thursday's show, and we're going to start giving them a lot more love as we go through these shows and have more of a deserted ad slots because we're not going to let YouTube interrupt our show anymore. It's just going to be us, and it's because of the support we get from our sponsors. And it's because of the support we get from you guys. The likes, the subscribes, the comments, those all help in the algorithm, and those all help us move forward and grow the show. And we look forward to bringing different things. I know this Monday show is going to get longer as we go forward. Probably be instead of an hour, it'll probably get closer to 2 hours as we go and with different segments and different things. And really look forward to growing, and we're going to have some fun. But with that being said, we're going to start. We're going to do JJ Zen, and then we'll get you to Billy, and then we'll do the intro to Billy. We're going to set that up a little bit. But JJ, give us a good Zen to get us into the mood here.
Tough times don't last, but tough people do.
There you go.
That's Billy Noonan right there.
That is Billy Noonan. That
was my dad's favorite quote.
Really?
Yep.
I don't know where it came from though. I don't know who wrote that.
John, you got anything on that?
I think it was my dad.
I think so. I'll give him credit.
Well, we're going to get to this interview right here, and so the interview was Archie Shaw was supposed to join us too, but Archie got tied up at work. He actually was working for Corby Campbell, right. So that's the kind of people that Corby Campbell gets working for him is guys like Archie Shaw. So, so he couldn't make it. But we had Tony Boone, and Tony Boone chimes in from the back roads of Nebraska in an 18-wheeler, and the coverage was sketchy. So this went on for 30 minutes of the sketchy coverage, and we're hoping he's getting to a place that's going to get better coverage, and at the same time we're waiting for Archie. So we just kept the recording going while we're talking to Billy Noonan, who was proudly perched on his back porch in rural Missouri with the American flag waving in the background and just ripping darts as we're just going through our interview and just talking. And something else, wasn't it?
He's trying to quit smoking.
He was all proud of Joe Cruz for quitting 26 years ago, and he's like, God, I got to do that. And so then Johnny had to jump into Archie's chair, but he was in and out of the picture. But just the picture of Billy on his back porch with on the left, and while Tony was with us, was him in his cab on the right. Now Tony fades away pretty quick at the beginning, and then he joins us by phone, and it's a lot. Obviously, he didn't need as much, I don't know, whatever you call it, juice to get on the phone rather than on live on camera. So. But he then chimes in on the phone, and it worked out fine. Yeah, and that's another thing I want to mention is that we're having a little trouble with our StreamYard sound when we have remote guests, but we've corrected that, and we're pretty sure that moving forward that we're going to have that taken care of. Johnny, you got anything for us before we head into that?
Let's let him go. Let's do it.
We're good.
All right, enjoy that interview. Leave your comments, like, subscribe, and share. leave your comments that you might want these guys to answer on Thursday. Anything, or join us on Thursday, live from Columbo's on our Facebook channel and our YouTube channel. Enjoy this interview, and we will talk to you on Thursday. Peace.
Hey,
I'll tell you, man, these old country roads, I mean, shit, you can't hardly see the signs.
there you go, baby.
Awesome. That is awesome.
How's everybody been?
Good, brother. All right. Welcome back to the Brighter Side of Blue. We got a special show. We're first in the Patrolling of series. You know, we're going to start with the 5th District. We're going to hope that this continues throughout the districts in the city and some county and some of the other municipalities around, and just sit around and tell stories from certain areas and how things were back in the day when they were patrolled by us. And we're going to start with the 5th District. And our guest that we're going to have today, we're going to cover from about 90 to 2005-ish or so. With me or with us, we have on the bottom of the screen to the left is Billy Noonan, legendary St. Louis copper that's been a friend of ours for years and just a tremendous person. And we'll get with Billy here in a minute. And then Tony Boone is on the road. He's a truck driver now in Arizona. And Tony actually not only patrolled the 5th District, but he also was born or raised in the 5th District. Tony retired with 30 years on from the city and is now living in Arizona. And as you can see, he's a truck driver. And the picture here is my favorite picture of any podcast we've ever had. We've got Billy Noonan on the left in the woods, and we've got Tony Boone on the right driving down the road in his 18-wheeler. I love it. And then on set we have Joe Cruz with us. And Joe's been on some other shows, and Joe's in his 35th year on the St. Louis department, and Johnny Frank to my left and Jimmy Joyner to my right. And so we're going to get into the 5th District. And just to let everybody know, just to give people a description of the 5th District for those that are not familiar with St. Louis or from the county or not familiar exactly where the 5th District is. Its boundaries are the Mississippi River to the east. To the south, it would be North Market. To the west, it would be Van de Venner, and then it kind of zigzags and, through Fairgrounds Park and then down to the river. And then on the north, it would be right around O'Fallon Park. O'Fallon Park's in the 6th District, and then the other side is the 5th District. So that's right at the boundaries there, O'Fallon Park. But the 5th District has some historical places also. It's the home of Crown Candy. It is the home of Pikatowski's Sausage. It is home of the North Grand Water Tower. What's the other water tower? Bissell? The Bissell Water Tower.
19th and Bissell.
Yeah. Sportsman's Park, which was where the Cardinals played back in the day.
And the Browns.
And the Browns. And Chemo's, and that's no longer there, of course. Chemo's Restaurant, the famous restaurant that was known for being downtown when I was around, but it started in the 5th District. And I think that the 5th District, as we'll get to, got a little wild for the Cusimano family, and they decided to take business elsewhere. And Carter Carburetor, which employed a lot of people, which was right there by the Sportsman's Park. And of course, the Hackney House.
And Leon's face.
The Hackney House of Shenanigans. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But hey, Tony, I found it interesting. You grew up in the 5th District. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, he had a auto repair shop at Emily and was it Gano? Right across from the Bryan Hill playground. And we lived at that time, we lived over on DeSoto and Carter. Really, me and my cousin.
So here's what we're going to do now is we're going to cut. And then, Tony, we're going to get you by phone. because it'll be a lot smoother if you're on the phone. So we're gonna cut and then
Okay.
and go to you on the phone, and I can put a picture of you up. I think we've got the picture of this now. Now when you're on the phone, everybody will be picturing you behind that wheel. It'll be perfect. All right. Well, at least we got Tony on for a hot second while he's driving his truck, and got a little taste of what he's doing right now. But we appreciate him taking the effort to be on the show like that. But Tony, we left off with you describing how you grew up in the 5th District. So go ahead with that real quick.
Yeah, we started out at DeSoto and Carter. It was populated pretty heavy back in those days. And then we moved over to the 2100 block of John. And from there, we ended up moving out to the county.
Okay.
But it was fun.
How old were you when you moved out of the city to the county?
I want to say, I think I started 4th grade out in the county.
Okay.
And then, so now we're going to get to Billy. And Billy, what you grew up in the city, not in the 5th District, but pretty close. Where did you grow up?
Yeah, we originally were living on Hodemont down there by Lillian. And then I guess when we were 12 or so, we moved over to McLaren, just outside the 6th District, about a block and a half. So yeah, we're from the area, basically.
And Billy, you have a little law enforcement in your family. Tell everybody about that. You know.
Yeah, my father was a Jennings policeman, and then he became a Troy chief, Troy, Illinois, and then he ended up back on this side of the river in Wentzville, Missouri.
And then you had a good story about how he became a policeman.
Yeah. Well, first I want to sum that up a little bit. Actually, Tony Boone, you and Joe Cruz and I we're in the same squad in Mobile Reserve back in the day when it first started.
Here we go.
Well, that's how they were 5th District guys, but we all became in squad.
Play the fight song.
We were squad 4. Remember, we were squad 4, and so and that's how I met you guys. But and then one of those days when we were riding, Bill, you and I were riding together one day. Our partners, I guess, were off, and we were just talking. And you asked me why I wanted to be a policeman, and I asked you the same question. And your answer was a lot better than mine. And if you want to tell the story, I can.
That was my father. You know, he got out of the Army, and I had to move back home temporarily till I got a job. Well, things were happening. And basically, my dad said, "Boy, you better get a badge or you're going to do some time." So he handed me a 38 snub nose, said, "Start putting in an application."
And he became a city cop after that.
Yeah. Almost went to Jennings. Got the mayor called me down. He said, "Hey, if you want a job, we got one for you." But then the city called, and I go, "Well, they got a 20-year retirement, so I'll take that one."
But your dad was the chief of police at that time in Wentzville, or was it somewhere else?
No, at that time he was a lieutenant in Jennings.
Okay.
When it first started. Yeah.
And then Joe Cruz, just you've been on the show before, but where'd you grow up? A little different, but not too.
Yeah, it was similar city circumstances, but South City, down in Dutchtown, basically.
State Street.
Yeah, State Street.
He's State Street guy.
He's State Street guy.
I lived in the first 50 years of my life down in the city, and I enjoyed it. I have no regrets.
And then everybody else knows about us, so we'll save them the boring stuff about us.
Joe comes from a police family too.
Joe does come from a police family. Yes. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your police family?
My father retired after about 35 years. My brother retired after about 24 years, and I'm at 35 now. I don't think we'll quite make it to 100, but we've got
damn near.
We've got a lot.
You're trying.
Yeah,
you're trying.
Years.
They keep making that drop program beneficial. You might make it.
Yeah, but I believe the Lowers just put I believe it was Kyle Lauer on the books.
Right.
So consecutive streak, you go from Colonel Lauer all the way to whatever Kyle's career spans. We might make 100 years on them.
Yep,
definitely.
But the reason now we all come together with the 5th District. And Billy, when did you come out in the 5th District? You actually came out of the academy and went to the 5th, or did you go to the 1st?
No, I went to the 1st, and then I went to the 5th in 91.
91?
Yeah.
And then Joe, you did not get. Where did you come out of the academy to?
I went from the academy to the 4th, which is downtown, north of downtown. And then within about 3 years of that, they had a bureau. You and I worked together in the bureau, but
The net team,
yeah,
the narcotic enforcement team.
yeah, it was a proactive, looking for
Right.
neighborhood enforcement.
And that's where you hooked up with Tony Boone.
Tony and a couple of the other guys that knew the Fifth better. Don Grace, I believe, was also from the Fifth. Tony can.
And that was your partner, wasn't it, Tony, Don Grace?
Yeah.
And Tony, you came out of the academy and went to the Fifth in what year?
90.
In 90. So that puts us.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tone.
Yeah, May of 90.
Okay. And then, Tony, when we were talking, one of the questions I wanted to ask everybody early on in their career when we're in the 5th District, and we'll start with Tony, and something happened pretty early on that you knew this district was going to be a little something different than what you might have expected. Or, I mean, you grew up there, but I think you tell us about that incident real quick.
Yeah, I was brand new, man. I couldn't have been out no more than 2 or 3 months. And we made relief one night and at the old 5th District. And while we're making the relief, a pursuit comes out with narcotics. And then a traffic car got involved because he was a marked car. And the chase was on, winding up through Forest Park and then eventually up to the, west side of the 5th District. And so the car crashes out and there's shots fired. So we're all running out of the station. And Patrick McCarthy, Sergeant McCarthy, he's like, "Young man, where do you think you're going?" I said, "I'm going up there." He said, "Nope, you're staying right here. You're too new." And I was like, well, shit. So, yeah, so I'm kind of stuck there. And then once the crowd started and they started throwing bricks and bottles, then he was like, "All right, let's go. We're going up there." So we get up there and it was crazy, man. K9 was up there and people getting shotguns out of the cars. And Lieutenant Mesmer sent me and Don Grace to the hospital for the hospital detail. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Don was getting married the next day. So, he was like, "Lieutenant, I'm getting married." "Oh, you won't be there long." You know how that goes. So we get there, and all of a sudden, we're there for a while, and the family shows up. And there's a bunch of them. The mama, the uncle, a brother, and there was like 3 or 4 other ones. And we go out to stop them in the vestibule right there at the emergency room. Well, Mama she starts blaming Don Grace for shooting her kid. And we're like, we caught the hospital detail. We weren't even up there. So with that, she spits in Don's face, and then the brother, he takes a poke at Don and just grazes his chin. Well, that was game on. And, man, it was a melee. Blood splattering all over. And I remember there was a couple of doctors that came over and they were like, "We're going to need a gurney over here. We need a gurney over there." And, Mama, she ended up shitting her pants. And it was crazy, man.
Welcome to the 5th District, right? This ought to be a good time.
Yep. And then I knew from that point that was going to be a good district.
Now, Billy, what did you request to go to the 5th from the 1st, or how'd that happen?
Yeah, I actually did. I was in the 1st for a couple years, and that to me, South St. Louis was kind of a culture shock because you got that patch area down there, and I've never seen glue heads. Up north we didn't have that, and them dudes are walking around with that gold paint on their faces and tissue, and I'm going, what's wrong with these people? So then my training officer partner at the time said, man, they're sniffing that glue. And they walk around with all this. Apparently they like gold paint for some reason. That's their preferred color. So they can walk around with all these,
Trying to get gold teeth.
Yeah.
That's kind of how your
first started.
concentration.
That must be how it started.
Billy, wasn't there like 3 or 4 of them guys from the same family?
Oh yeah,
that
they
used
had.
to do that shit down there.
Yeah, remember what they called them, Joe? Joe, you remember the Southside family there?
The Cruises.
I probably went to school with
Right.
them.
The Cruises.
Seahorses or
The
something.
seahorses.
Oh,
Remember
the
that?
seahorses, yeah.
The seahorses.
Yeah.
I thought you were going.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Seahorse.
They were glue. I'm not positive they were all on glue, but they were.
Not all of them.
They
the
were
one
inbred.
brother was.
They were inbred.
They were strange.
They were. Yeah. We'll have to put. I'll put a picture of them up right during when I edit this.
Yeah.
I'll put that
Explain
picture
how they
of them
got
up.
their name.
Well, they would. They got their name because they would walk in
a row.
Consecutively in height.
In height, they would. The tallest guy would lead, and then when they walked, they bobbed, and they'd
Yeah.
bob up and down the street.
Yeah.
So they called them the seahorses.
They were definitely seahorses.
All right, moving on. Now let's get to the 5th. They were not from the 5th district.
Don't gloss over the fact that Billy asked for that transfer. I think that might have been the only one in his career he ever asked for.
Yeah, it was. Well, so I was a couple years down there, and then Lieutenant Seamers, I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
We were at the tavern, and he goes, how do you like that first? I said, well, it's not bad, but there's a lot of strange things that goes on down there. So he goes, well, where would you rather be? I said, well, I'd like to go up to the 6th because I'm from up there. I know a bunch of people up there. And he goes, well, it's either the 5th or the 6th. I said, either or. And so next Monday, I was going to the 5th.
Right. He's the only person ever to ask to go to the 6th.
Yeah. They never, he goes, why would you want to go there? And I'm going, well, I'm from there.
That's classic. Now let's go to the next one. I guess we're going to go. Let's go famous dope. Should we go? No, let's go gangs. What gangs do you remember from the 5th district, Billy?
Oh, man. You had 19th Street, Long Beach Crips, Six Deuce, and then the notorious Beam Street, the 270.
Where would those? So let's the 19th Street. Where did they hang out?
Right up at that Grand Water Tower, right there by the circle.
Okay.
But they would stay on 19th Street going south.
And then you said Beam Street. So where was that location at?
That was there at Sullivan and Elliott, right off of Parnell. That was like close to the border of the 4th and the 5th district.
And then name a couple others and where they hung out.
Oh man,
There was Bailey Street Hustlers, right?
Oh, that was Bailey Street. They were up a couple blocks across Natural Bridge.
Well, you hit the Six Deuce too.
Six Deuce, they were there.
Where were they at?
They were
Up
more
there by-
College and Carter.
College
right?
and Carter area, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they were up there. Then the Piru Bloods down on Montgomery. Then you had the Adelaide Mob up there, the ones that wore the green Oakland A's clothes. They were good for a lot of murders.
Now, what we always mention the Hackney House here. Who were they affiliated with?
DeSoto.
DeSoto Street
boys.
Hustlers?
Yeah.
There was a lot of hustlers with names. Everybody was a hustler.
They were hustling.
You
were
can't spell
hustling.
hustler without the STL, baby. That was their motto.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was. Tony, do you got any other ones to add to that?
Let's see. What were they called? The DeSoto Street Hustlers?
Yeah, we just said them.
That sound right?
Yep.
I think the 1400 block had some too, not only 20. That dead end where they sold weed.
Right.
Yeah, the 800 block.
That's what we'll do. Let's paint a picture of like 1992, if everybody can just kind of think back to around. So we're all young policemen. We're all up at the time. I'm not in the fifth yet, but you guys are all up in the fifth. Billy, what were some of the hotter dope sets back in that day?
That was all that were them guys were. You had Bacon and Montgomery. It was.
I hated that place.
Yeah, it was everywhere. I mean, you couldn't.
Well, the Hackneys, Emily DeSoto was a big one with the Hackneys. They were selling heroin like it was going out of style.
Well, let's go to the houses then. If we're going to say the Hackneys, the Andersons were quite right. They were damn near
4019 Grove.
Yeah.
Was it 18 or 19?
4019, right?
I thought it was 18. I might be wrong. What was the Andersons?
Yeah, 4019.
What was Anderson's address, or Billy?
I thought it was 14. It would have been on the 19, wasn't it, Joe?
Yeah,
Because
I think
it's on the other side of the
So
street.
4019?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. How many times we hit that house? God. Man.
That house had to have a record of search warrants executed.
They should have just gave us a key.
I mean, that thing got mobile was in there. Everybody, the 5th District officers, and then the other house that I thought is the 3524 North Grand. Remember that one, Billy?
Man.
That would have been up there with Tory Miller and all those would hang out up there.
Yeah, but that was Bailey Street, or no, 3500 would be
Near Natural Bridge.
It's right up by the Mobile on the Run. Right to the
that's
right
Bailey.
of it. Right? Yep.
You got the Bailey Street boys there that kind of kept that going.
Yep.
They seem like they were more professional bullet catchers because they seem like
They were.
They got hit more than they put out. And if you remember, Steve Martin and Bill Potes were in the net team with Billy and I and Tony, and they were down there just, they weren't bothering them. They just stopped on the set to say, hey, what, how's things going? I'm sure they were looking for dope and guns and just doing their job. And as they're standing there having small talk with some of the gang members, they get a drive-by, and they end up shooting the policeman in the thigh, not knowing he was a policeman. They just drive by and they just start lighting up the set while the policeman's standing there.
And that was
talking.
Steve Martin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Big Steve, yeah.
Yeah, we caught the guy that shot Martin. That was the longest shift I ever did. It was, I think we worked 36 hours until we caught him.
Where were you at the time?
I was in fast unit.
Okay.
Oh yeah, fast.
Yeah, but we had this. We were on this kid's trail, and we just kept just missing him all down.
Do you remember his name?
It was Bruce something.
Bruce. Okay.
But we caught him. It was during the flood detail because he ran in a vacant house down there, and we ran in, and the National Guard that was down there, and they ran in and assisted us. But that was luckily Steve was okay. But it was like you said, Joe. They didn't shoot him because he's a policeman. They shot him because he was on the wrong set.
Yeah.
Hey, Billy, who was your most memorable character of the 5th District? The guy that you might even liked him. I mean, doesn't mean that it could have been a big dope man or somebody that you liked. Who was your most memorable character?
Man, there was several. Muggsy from that Hebert Hustlers down on Hebert and Florissant. He was a comical little guy. Yeah, there were several. Even,
How about Stink? You remember Stink?
Oh,
Big Stink,
Bailey
yeah.
Grove.
Stink
he
was
got shot in the butt.
Well, he got unfortunately because I thought Stink had a nice personality. He's had a fun personality.
Yeah.
He was a gangster. I get it. Unfortunately, I think it was on Thanksgiving. He got popped and killed.
Didn't they find him in a trunk?
Billy, does that sound familiar?
I know he got popped, but Tom, I don't remember. We were up there. I knew them guys kind of personally. Well, the one time they were out in front of that house up there on Bailey, and they're gambling. So I'm in a marked car. I roll up. They don't see me or not, and that's unusual for them. So I'm kind of sitting there and I honk. I say, hey fellas, if you're gonna gamble, go to the back of the house. They're rolling down on everybody. So they said, okay, I guess about a half hour after I got off shift, they hit all 8 of them.
They got shot?
Killed them. Stink got it right in the butt. He got shotgunned right in the butt.
Ooh.
But they killed Sleepy, a guy named, remember Sleepy Joe?
The nickname sounds
Yeah.
familiar.
Tony, you remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
he got killed, but 7 of them got hit. It was like, I told you.
Uh,
How about you, Tony? What was some of your favorite characters of the 5th District?
oh man, like Wandell Carter, Scarface, Fat Andrew. You guys remember Fat Andrew?
No.
I don't remember.
Up at 4309 College. Man, they slung some dope out of that house. And man, who was it? What was that family up there on John? The roofers.
Higgins.
Oh,
White
Higgins,
family.
yeah.
The Higgins.
Higgins.
I can't even think about the 5th District without thinking about the Higgins family.
If you were going white characters of the 5th District, we'd have to go White Boy Rob, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Robert Iyer.
Probably.
He got his eye
Yeah.
shot out.
He did get his
They
eye
shot
out.
his eye out.
Well, that was they were up on a wire on him at the time. You remember
Yeah.
that? And
Yeah.
he got shot while they were on the wire, and while he's on the phone when he gets shot. You know, they just did a roll up on him and get shot.
He was hanging out there with remember Walter Williams? They interviewed him on the news, and he called himself Walt Love. Yeah, remember they would drive them big 4-door Cadillacs around. They had like a thing. And even White Boy Rob had a Cadillac, and they'd all cruise around together. And somebody got him. I'm not sure who it was.
Well, then he went to the Area 2 station.
Yeah, I was working.
Yeah, we were in the bureau at the time, and somebody says Robert Iyer's out there in the lobby, and he got shot in the eye. And I walk out and I see all the narcotic guys in their cars. They were already following him, and they're like,
I called Sal Sierra. I said, "Hey, Ira just showed up. He's been shot." He goes, "I know. I'm sitting across the street."
So that was Robert Iyer. That was, and then some of my other ones were Marcello Hackney. I remember that one.
Marcello should be in the penitentiary still. I think he got life in prison.
He did.
He killed somebody when he was
What did he get
young.
locked up for, Billy? He got locked up for a murder. Do you remember what happened in that one?
Yeah, it was.
He shot somebody.
Yeah,
They
just
died.
typical 5th District. You know.
I think it was a rolling beef that came from the east side, and it was on 70, and then they were doing a back and forth, rolling gunfire, and Marcello he won that particular battle. Or lost, however you want to look at it. I think he's doing life. But any other houses, Tony, that you can think of that were notorious in the game? The police were in all the time.
Man, there was one on, I want to say it was DeSoto, was on College on the east side of Florissant. And it was the old lady, Grandma.
Oh, I know.
And she was slinging the teas and blues.
Wow.
You remember that?
Yeah.
No, that teas and blues were all that was uncommon in our era. Our era started when teas and blues kind of ended.
Yeah, you're going back to like Tony Locke and that.
Right. Yeah. Old heads.
Yeah.
Old heads.
That was meant as an insult.
Crack took over everything at that time.
Yes, crack took over big time. And then let's go to some of the characters of the 5th District. I'm just going to throw some names out and let you guys talk about them. I remember a guy by the name of Ray Haywood that you guys used to mess with all the time. Tell us a little bit about Ray, Billy.
He ran the Penrose set up there because if you wanted brown heroin, you would go to Montgomery or Grand or up to the DeSoto boys. Well, Ray Haywood and his crew ran the China white heroin. It was like a purer form. They controlled that whole area up there with the white heroin. And then...
do you remember anything about Ray, Joe Cruz?
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I don't ever remember him getting a serious case. Do you, Billy? Because He was actually pretty good. He wasn't hard to deal with. He was easy to talk to. He he's portrayed that he wasn't doing anything wrong.
Right.
But
He didn't like me.
I don't remember him ever getting a case like a serious one. He ended up moving out of town. I think it was just because
Walls were closing in.
Yeah,
Did
the
he
walls
move
were
to
closed.
Tennessee or something, Billy?
Indiana.
Indiana.
Indianapolis, Indiana, because I talked to the big ATF or DEA down there and said, hey, he's here, so you're going to start having heroin problems down there.
What about you, Tony? You remember anything about Ray? That we'll get into some other characters here in a minute.
Man, I don't remember much about that guy.
Because he used to, the Corvette he had a Corvette, didn't he, Billy?
Oh, man.
Nice
his
Corvette.
brother.
What's that?
Or was that his or was that one of the Snipes?
It might have been a Snipes because it was the same area, right?
And the Poindexters were down there too.
Oh, the Poindexters. Yeah,
Oh, here we
they were
go.
down there. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit
Larry
about the
Green.
Poindexters.
Remember Larry Green, Joe?
Yeah, I think we were talking about that. I think he later ended up having a fast Camaro, and he would only run from you when he was dirty, and normally you wouldn't even get lights on him; he'd be running.
Who's Larry?
There was.
Larry, yeah.
They all ran, man. People got to understand how the 5th District was. These are not just houses of drug dealers. These are neighborhoods, families that they knew what cars were supposed to be there. If there's a funny car that ain't supposed to, they check it out. They or people. They knew exactly what was going on at all times.
The only way you'd really figure it out, because they'd sell their dope, but they'd put it on the ground or whatever, and you pull up on them and you just start talking to him. You check him out, and it's like, oh, he's got $500 in his pocket, but nothing going on. So, you'd have to get in a house early in the morning and dress down and, try to, throw a hoodie on, sneak in, and then you start watching. And it's like, oh, he's hiding it under the hubcap in the backyard. And then you go out there and you grab them. And they're like, that's not mine. It's like,
Right.
I just watched you do 3 friggin'
JJ's told a couple of the vacant house stories.
Yeah,
And vacant houses were that was a good plan back.
Doesn't
in the
always
day.
work out
Right.
perfect, but
No.
Right.
yeah.
But
Good place to-
fortunately, they always had the no trespassing, no loitering signs out there.
Absolutely. And then the other one that we've talked about in the past. There was a large manhunt for him, and it was Tory Miller was a member of the was a character of the 5th District. Tell us a little bit about what you remember about Tory. Tony, we'll start with you, Tony.
Tory, he was, I don't know, man. I never liked that guy. And I don't know. I remember, Billy, I think you were with us. We were hunting him for a shooting, and we ended up catching him up there at that, what was that paint store at Grand? And
3524 North Grand is where you caught him.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and we found him in the basement, and that basement was like a city block long.
Yep.
And we found him. He was stuffed himself behind a big boiler, and we get him locked up, and then we start looking around.
There's
And man,
guns
I
everywhere.
can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember how many guns we got out of there, but
Yeah.
there was a lot.
And I remember
But yeah,
from,
he was. I always thought he was just an ignorant dude.
if I remember correctly, he startled the piss out of somebody in that basement. Almost gave somebody a heart attack because it was really dark. Apparently, it was really dark.
I don't know how he could find where he was going because we all had flashlights. There was no electric down there that I recall. So
No.
whatever he did by, and there was no phones at the time. Like you're not using your flashlight on your phone. So I don't know how
that is true.
he had to do it all out of feel because I don't know.
And then 3420 or 3524 North Grand is we did a search warrant there the first night of the MVOP, the first night the MVOP was ever created. And or the second stint, I should say. And Leo did the search warrant. We did the search warrant there, and there That's when I believe you found the gun in the attic of the house after about 4 hours of searching. I'm like, Cruz, can we leave? He's like, no, I'm going to find it. I'm guaranteed there's something in here. He found a gun.
You know, Todd, we went to that house, that same house. It was a short time after that. That's when I was with Sue McLean. We were in the district in plain clothes. Sue McLean was with me. And then Roger Murphy and Bones, I think it was Dave Bonenberger. Well, Tori's supposed to be standing outside. And so I'm in the car and we got shotguns. And I'm passenger. And I look over and Roger's chasing a guy. And I think it's Tori. He's got a gun in his hand. So I'm hanging out the car, try to shoot him with the shotgun. Never shoot a shotgun in a car, first of all. So that's allowed. So the guy drops, and I go, we got him. And he drops, well, it's the wrong one. I go, I remember the guy's name, or I can't remember his name now, but I go, hey, you Tori? He goes, no. I go, what's your name? He tells me his name. I said, who's doing all that shooting? He says, I thought it was y'all. Yeah, he hit the deck. Roger hit the deck. That guy hit the deck.
Don't shoot a shotgun from the car.
Nothing.
Did you actually hit him with it?
I missed him.
Okay.
That was the embarrassing part. How the hell did I miss him?
Hey, and to circle back on Tori too, and I think Billy and Tony will both remember this. I believe he was kind of protege to Antoine Smith.
Yeah,
and they were all part of the 270 Sullivan Mob, and they were probably one of the more violent couple of people that ever, probably not ever, because you had all the petties and everything else that came out of the Fifth, but yeah, they were certainly.
What was in who?
Our,
Who?
In our area, they're probably the most violent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what area were they from, Joe? The
270 Mob.
And that's 2700 block of Sullivan?
Yeah.
Right.
Sullivan and
Not
Elliott.
to make light, but these guys were stone cold killers, man. I mean, they had to make their money, and they'll kill you. Right. We've had how many shootings over there? God damn.
Oh yeah.
It was just. They said it hit the world newspaper. I walked out of the station. A guy goes, "Hey, congratulations!" I said, "What?" Hands me a paper. It was featuring Beam Street, in that paper. I'm like, "Holy cow!"
No, they were violent. And then the Sills family grew up there. We've had Archie on in the past who talked about the Sills family, and I want to say that I believe one of them put a bounty on his life, didn't they, Joe?
Yeah, you could do a whole show on Robert
Kenneth.
Sills and Kiki.
Kenneth, remember Kenneth?
Yeah, I think he was Kiki, and I don't recall the relation with Robert, but Fat Cat was the one that put the bounty on, or the hit on Archie, because Archie was figuring out everything he was doing, and we ended up investigating that night. I bet we probably put 20 people in jail just off of that.
The Sills case?
Yeah, and it was all a part of Lanky Larry Hamilton. He had shot a sheriff, and then after the sheriff got shot, he was getting ready to go to trial, and they ended up hiring some guys from out of town, or a guy from out of town, and they said, go kill this witness. I think he was a guard, and we had got information that this was going to happen, and went to the guard and said, "Hey, listen, we're hearing bad things." And he said, "Okay, I'll take note." So he did, and he was like just up in the 9th District off of Dr. King, real close to the area station. And he gets a knock on the door at like 5 in the morning, and his father goes to answer the door, but his father knows what's going on too. And the guy says through the door, he says, "Hey, I need to jump. Can you give me a hand?" He goes, "I'm sorry, I can't do that," because he knows what's going on. And he goes, "Okay," and then he knocks again, and he goes, "Well, can I use the phone?" And he goes, "No, I'm sorry, I can't do that." Well, with that, the guy that was thinking it was the guard, he shoots through the door. Well, the father, he shoots back, and he ends up shooting him in the belly.
Yep.
And that guy kind of runs off, and the getaway driver drives away.
Leaving the shot guy behind, yeah.
Leaving him behind. He was
Right.
like from Tennessee or some silly.
Yeah, Archie said that he had told that story quickly, and he said that they were from out of town. They called somebody from out of town, and their goal was to kill that guard. and they shot through the door. But that all started from the 5th District, right? The Sills family.
yeah,
Where
yeah.
did the Sills family live, Billy?
22nd
They
or
were down
3rd.
there on got right off of Florissant, down from the Grand Water Tower.
Okay.
They went in a Randall Place or something like that, was it?
They were right at like 23rd-ish, second, I think it was, in Salisbury.
Yeah.
When we were doing this case, but Billy's probably right. Years before that, this case wasn't that long ago. It was 15 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
I remember a
Larry
guy-
was 19th Street, Joe.
You remember a guy by the name of Derek Baker, Billy? Crazy, had a messed up eye. Oh. He was always memorable to me because he was a big old tall dude, but he was about as dopey as could be. he was one of them happy-go-lucky dudes. And so, hey Tony, what when you were in the 5th, what would you say that was your most memorable arrest while you were running around down there? What case comes to mind right away when somebody mentions the 5th District?
I remember that case, Joe, with Lionel Carter and Leatherberry and Caruth when they killed that kid up at the liquor store.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, were you guys riding together in Mobile at the time?
Yeah, Tony will tell the story, but we were on a pedestrian check, like in 4400 block of Stratman, which was about a block away from where this killing happened.
Yeah. And we heard the gunshots, and I look at Joe, and he looks at me, and he says, "Them are gunshots." I said, "Man, I think they're fireworks." And then up the street, here come them 3 guys, deep barrel. They jump in. They actually backed up into the alley and then made the first left. So we jumped in the car and we went to the water tower and made the right, and we met them right there at what was that, Joe? The light right there.
Oh, Blair. Yeah, Blair. And
yeah, we met them at the light on Blair, and the chase was on, man. They jumped on the interstate.
And they did a homicide, right? When do you guys? So you guys catch them, Joe. When do you guys find out that these guys? Obviously, you hear the shots.
We called out on the shots fired, and we had a really good idea something was going on by the way they were driving. It was like this wasn't just like
after the shots fired, right?
And we hadn't quite heard yet what the whole incident was, but I think shooting started to come out, and we knew these were the guys that were good for the shooting.
And then, when did you learn while you were chasing them that there was a homicide? Then it turned into a homicide.
Yeah, it quickly turned into a homicide.
And then tell us a little bit about the chase.
We suspected he'd probably go towards highway because they just did the killing, which was only about 5 blocks from the highway. And as Tony said, we could see the reverse lights. Was like that's a pretty good clue. Something's going on with this car. Got in a pursuit with it, and it went west on 70, got off at Shreve, and we could barely see it. It was like 79 Camaro. It was pretty quick. And I remember we had to jump over the island, like probably could have tore out the bottom of the car, but it was important enough that we had to do it. And we jumped the island and get off at Shreve, and we could kind of see it in the distance. I don't remember the street it was on, Tony, do you? It was right before West Florissant. And they made a left. They all bailed out. Left the car running. One of the detectives was in the area, and he called out and he says, "I see the car's running at the curb." So we get there, and it's like right in front of where they end up going inside, and we just kind of like followed it, like basically got to the house where they did go in, and we acted as if we saw him go in. And
you did see him go in.
Yeah, we did. Of course we did.
Of course.
And we get in there and
came out with welding gloves on and was jumping in the car to move it.
Yeah, they told the flunky in the house, they were like, "Hey, go move that car and turn the lights out." And he comes out with welding gloves on, throws his gloves down, and we're like, I've never seen anybody throw gloves down. What do you think?
Welding gloves.
Yeah.
Tony Twist.
Yeah. So we get up, we get in there, and they're all squirrely as hell. And we get up there, and we recognize a couple of them right away. And then the other, I think one or, I don't know how many were hiding in the attic. Like, there was a crawl space in there, and we ended up getting them out of the crawl space, too. And as we're looking, I think we came across a couple guns, Tony. And then we weren't real convinced by the number of rounds in the guns and what was going on that they were actually used, but we knew we had some guns. And Tony and I were talking, and it was like, hey, they made the left off onto the on-ramp. And to get rid of these guns, it's a perfect spot because we couldn't have saw it. And sure enough, they're sitting there right on the shoulder. They pitched both guns as soon as they made the left.
Okay.
And we recovered the guns. They made a case on it. I don't know how well the case ever went, but I think Tony, you remember what happened after the guy got killed? It's not funny that he got killed, but how the neighborhood reacted.
Oh man!
In the liquor store.
Remember remember the old drunk dude? He come walking in, and the kid's laying there all dead with himself, and the drunk guy he kind of looks down at him, and it looks like he's like wanting to say, what you died right in the way, and he steps over him, and the guy behind the counter was like, hey man, get the fuck out of here. And the old drunk just turned around and walked out. But
I want my
I mean,
bottle.
that was just life in the 5th District, man.
Yeah. Now that was in front of the liquor store, right?
It was inside the liquor store. He stepped right over his body to go order a bottle. And I think as the case developed, I don't think the kid. Clearly nobody deserves that, but I don't think the kid even was the right guy. I think they ended up determining later it was a case of mistaken identity.
Wow. But they just killed him to kill him.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But then
and that kid had nowhere to go, man.
Oh, he's stuck in a box.
Trapped rat. Yeah.
Did he get? So he got killed inside the liquor store.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So you guys heard the shots from inside. That's how close you guys were.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Billy, one of the other locations that we always talked about when me and you talk, and is the Sweet Peas ice cream parlor. Tell us a little bit about Sweet Peas ice cream parlor,
That's
Billy.
about 2 doors down.
Yeah, that was ran by a guy named Lemuel Houston, and they were selling out of there. You know, that was right at the circle, that one.
Yep.
And so we hit it with a warrant. Got a bunch of dope, scales, and all these EBT cards. Well, the EBT cards are the addicts come in, the females, and they'll give them the EBT card, and they hold on to that until they either pay their debt off, or they make them go down there and get groceries and stuff for the dope men. I mean, there's piles of these EBT cards, and so we charged them with welfare fraud, but they wouldn't issue on it, you know.
Of course.
And the dope and guns.
Can we talk about some other businesses in the 5th District?
Uh-huh.
All right, we talked about Crown Candy, of course, but Greg's, one of the best restaurants,
Greg.
one of my favorites.
Closed now.
Yeah, they just closed recently. I still see John every once in a while. You know what I missed was Beaver's Pizza. Remember that place?
Beavers,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, on Salisbury, right there by Hyde Park.
14th and Salisbury, right?
Yeah. They had some good. I know Beaver was a dope man, but he was
He's a good pizza guy too.
Damn good pizza. and they used to give us a discount, even though he was a dope man. It was good. It was good business practice as a dope
If
man.
you're a dope man, definitely give the police a discount.
Were you able to watch him make the pizza though?
No.
That's always one of my favorite stories is when the JJ and Jimmy Long went through the Burger King lot or the Burger King drive-through.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy Long was just craving a shake. So they pull in with their police car. Yeah, what's your order? I vanilla shake. That's all I need. All right. So they're like 3 deep back in the drive-in and then the drive-through, and the drive-through person peeks their head out the window, looks back, and says, and then looks right at the police car and says, "Is this shake for you, officer?"
I kept telling you, I go, there's no way you're ordering this shit in this line. He goes, oh. And this guy actually leaned out of the window so far up to his waist, and he goes, is that shake for you? And I'm like, I was laughing so hard, hard-headed Jimmy Long. actually drank that shake.
Wow.
And then with that said, I got to
Did he
bring
call
up.
in sick for a week?
Yeah, no, but I talked to Jimmy Long on the way in. You heard you guys are on. He wanted to tell you all hi. And he is, right now, as we're talking, he's in D.C. in the Tahoe with 3 other DEA agents doing the crime down in D.C. right now. His first day.
Wow.
He deserves it.
He's
And
at DC.
this is his 20th anniversary of being on DEA.
Wow.
Wow.
And he's patrolling DC, and he probably loves it.
He does. He was so excited,
Oh, I bet
dude.
he's busy.
He said he was so excited. This is the first day for him to be pulled into this, and he was off last week, and so he was all excited. So he feels like I'm in mobile again with 3 other guys. And he said, I told him any stories that come up, let us know. We'll like to talk about them next week. But he's all pumped up, and hopefully he's been safe and he's helping a good
hopefully he's
cause.
safe.
All right.
Yeah.
But he wanted to tell you guys hi. It's been a long time.
Hi, Jimmy.
He'll be listening. He listens.
He listens. All right.
Hey, but Tony, I'm going to tell this story, and it's just the hardest I've ever laughed, and I know it. And you just had to bite your lip and take what. But you laughed at it too. But we were in the 5th District Bureau, and Tony and Joe were on the net team, and they had locked somebody up, and on the way in, apparently Tony told the kid wanted Tony's name. What's your name? What's your name? You know, what's the matter with my name? And Tony told him outside his name was Hoss. He goes, you can just call me Hoss. So the guy's in the bureau, and the bureau's packed. Everybody, I mean, there must have been 10 of us back there.
But yeah,
I mean, it couldn't have been any
10
more.
or it'd be 12
Yeah, it
egos.
was like a Kelly day.
Yeah, we compared, and he had barely had a place for the prisoner to sit, but he's handcuffed on a desk and back. And if you're just to paint a picture, we had desks that had like 4 desks, and then each desk had a
little ring with you.
a little ring that you could handcuff people to. And that guy's sitting in a chair next to it, and he's handcuffed. And Tony's doing computer work. And the kid says, "Hey man, what's your name?" Tony says, and Tony just kind of looks back and smiles at him and says, "I told you outside you can call me Hoss." The kid was mad, and he said, "I call you bitch." And we all just started laughing because it was funny. I mean, it was just funny. So there's nothing you could do but laugh, wasn't it, Tony?
That was some funny shit. I'll tell you, a lot of them prisoners, man, you could catch some laughs off those guys.
Absolutely.
Oh, there was
yeah.
some funny characters up there.
And Billy, you a lot of us did, but you had a really good relationship with a lot of those guys. I mean, not personal, but I mean, they really
They were
respected
good.
you when you pulled up. I mean, they didn't treat you bad or anything like that. And you didn't treat them bad. But tell us a little bit about how your relationship was with a lot of the guys that you dealt with on the streets.
It wasn't bad. I just knew, these guys don't watch everything they do, But I was kind of from a neighborhood like that up further. So, and they're human beings.
Right.
And you knew how to treat them, and they I can always remember that when I went there, me and you became friends and rode together a couple times. But I was always very impressed on how that they just adored. I mean, they
respected him.
They respected him, but they almost adored him. It was almost like, "Hey, Billy, they're Noonan, they're Noonan."
Looking for his approval.
Right. I mean, I can remember Billy telling one guy, the guy ran, and I had the assist call with it. And I'm pulling up behind him. I pull up first. Guy runs, and Billy is pulling up the other way and says, "Hey, get back here." And the dude came back. Am I right, Billy? Am I lying, Billy?
No, he's all right. He goes, "Dude, I just didn't want to go to jail."
And then when Billy showed up, he's like, "Okay, I'll stop then." Beer across the table,
funny.
baby. I like it.
Oh yeah, they're even Beam Street. Them guys, if they're running from another policeman, they see me, they stop. It's like, "What are you running for?" He goes, "That was Dotson." They are always scared of Jerry Dotson. He goes, "I didn't want to mess with Dotson." I said, "Well, you sit here till he gets here."
Yeah, that's the other. So let's talk about some informants. Let's just name them out right now. Never mind. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Gotta get people
the best
killed.
you could do is a Glasgow
Just
rat
kidding.
to keep in somebody
The
from not getting
Glasgow
killed.
rat was he was good. He came out of them buildings and he had that wet hair and he smelt. And he got into Biondelino's car, and I was with Biondelino, and I was like, God, you got to be kidding me, dude. I don't know how good this information better be off the chain.
And it wasn't.
It wasn't. No.
It never was.
As a matter of fact, that's when 5th District is where, and I'm pretty sure it was his information. I'm almost positive. I'll have to check with Biondelino. But we get information that somebody's carrying a gun at a location, and he gives the description of the guy that's supposed to have the gun. And it's Mueller, who we had on last night, myself, and we're in the violent crime unit at the time.
Is this one Kitchell shot at?
Yeah. Yep, that came from the Glasgow Rat, dude.
I ended up doing a 48 Hours or whatever. What was the movie with Eddie Murphy and
48 hours.
Yeah.
Nick Nolte?
He was running through the alley, and I opened my door on a new car that Maxima I had.
Oh, yeah.
He crunched in the driver door.
That was, that was from the Glasgow Rat.
Yeah, I do remember that case.
That was a good one. Billy, any other good stories that you wanted to? I mean, I know you must have locked up hundreds of people down there.
Man.
Any other stories that come to your mind?
Well, there's some funny ones
Absolutely.
There's a guy up there on Linton. Remember when we had the the field interview reports?
Right.
Yeah.
They wanted us to fill out. Well, I see a guy walking down Linton. He's got a red shirt on, and I thought it was kind of unusual because that's a Crip set up there. So and he's got his shirt. He's got his hand under his shirt like this, and he's walking down the street. I go, I'll try filling out one of these furs on this guy, you know. So as he's getting closer, he still ain't taking his hand out of his shirt. And I go, hey man, I told you to take your hand out your shirt. And he goes, I can't. I said, why not? He goes, I had surgery. I go, surgery? So I get out. I go, real slow, lift up your shirt. Well, he lifts up his shirt, and his finger is sewed to his chest. But the only problem, it's like this long, you know? And it's got a fingernail growing out of it. I'm going, what the hell? I said, what happened? Well, he was going to do a drive-by on a guy, and he was reaching in the trunk for the shotgun, and he grabbed the wrong end, pulled it, blew his tip of his finger off. Well, he had been on crack forever, and his finger was supposed to be taken off a year prior to that. So this thing's this long now, and when I ran him through Regis, they had a hit on him. You know, if you find this guy, bring him to the hospital immediately so they can remove his finger from his chest. He's been walking around like that for over a year. Daryl Burns, they called him Meatball. If you guys remember him from up on Linton. Yeah, it was the strangest thing.
How about you, Tony? Can you top that one?
That's a hard one.
Yeah, that's a hard one there. I'm trying to think.
What
man.
about the Bacon and Montgomery area? We haven't gotten into there.
Oh,
John
boy.
hates that area. Why do you hate it so much, John?
It's so depressing, and it's
It
just
was.
so much. All the heroin heads, and however dark it was in the rest of the city, it was like 5 times darker there. It just, you know, it wasn't the most violent place in the city, but it was the most depressing. And
I'll tell you this,
You know,
you could smell blood in the air on Saturday nights down there,
Yeah.
and Bean Street.
Yep.
Ike Turner's relatives lived
Really?
around there. Yeah.
Well, heroin addicts in general were more calm. They didn't really cause any issues once they were high, and they kind of stayed to themselves.
Billy, wasn't there a guy up there in that area that dealt out of on his wheelchair that you used to mess with?
Well, we had that. John, you remember Spencer Moses?
The name, yeah.
He lived right there.
Okay.
And I know the guy you're talking about in the wheelchair, Tom. I can't remember his name. right
Herman
now.
Drones, which was Bull, he kind of ran that whole street of Bacon, pretty much.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remember we grabbed one day, and I'm not talking shit on him, so I can say it. But I'll probably give him some street cred. And we said, hey, you know, once you grab a case, you want to go to the next case. And
Who's this, Herman?
Yeah, Bull.
Okay.
And we said, hey, you know, we just move on to like the next source if you got something better than yourself. And he goes, you know, that's what I like about you all. And I was like, what's that? And he says, y'all stick together. He says, like brothers. And he goes, that's the way it should be. And he goes, I ain't no snitch. I ain't talking on nobody. And I'm like, all right, good enough. Fair
Okay.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you said Bull, but there's another. What was the Tydero Griffin?
Oh yeah, he was.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was Bailey.
What was the brother's name? He had a brother. What was the brother's name, Billy?
Oh, that
Remember?
was the guy I shot at that thought it was Tory Miller. Yeah, that was Tydell. That was Tydell Griffin's brother. Because I said, "Hey, sorry about shooting at your brother, man." He had it coming.
They were. They ran
on
with
the tip of
Stink
my
and all
tongue.
them. Yep.
Yeah.
And what was his brother's name? Tydero
I'll
was the
think of
younger
it.
one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was the younger one.
Griffin was. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Dang, I can't remember his name. But that John, that Bacon in Montgomery, that's, whenever you did warrants down there, you would have houses with so many syringes in there.
Yeah.
You flip cushions up, syringes, and that was that Mexican tar heroin, so they consider that dirty heroin. And that's where you would get these guys with these big ulcerations all over them from shooting
That
up.
was gross.
Right.
That was nasty.
It was bad.
I would
It
leave those people
stunk.
alone immediately. I mean, I wouldn't even get close to them.
That liquor
It
store's
stunk so
finally
bad.
closed too,
Wasn't
Billy.
worth it.
Grand in Montgomery.
sorry.
That Grand in Montgomery, it finally closed. It's probably about a year or two ago.
Liquor store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that motel. Remember the motel
Oh yeah,
right there?
right on Grand.
Oh man, everybody would be
I'm thinking of
getting
one, trying to
jacked in
list.
that place.
That's nasty.
Lattimore?
Yes. Bull
No.
No.
Lattimore's were, I think,
They
from
were.
That's-
were
that's
they
what
5th District too?
Yeah, they were more of the 8th district. The latter
Yeah.
ones.
The Bull Lattimore was the boxer. The box for Layshock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Couple-
Tydero was Bull. Tydero went by Bull too, didn't
Yeah.
he, Billy?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You left off the Spans too, Johnny Spans.
Oh yeah, the
Oh,
span.
yeah.
And was his? Can't remember what his brother's name was, but his brother's the one who tried to rob Ed Smoot down at the
Yeah.
gas station.
Oh, yeah.
70 and
Oh
Grand.
wow.
And they got shot down.
They
Ed
shot
Eddie
each
got
other.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did talk a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, I don't want to talk about the aftermath with, but
It wasn't good.
Are you talking about the capture of him?
no, the lawsuit.
Well, the incident was Smoody was using that's how long ago?
Yeah.
Using a payphone to call someone.
He's-
Right
he's-
there.
And Smoody is
he's
an
policeman.
ex-policeman.
Yeah, he's in mobile. No, he wasn't. He's before he's in mobile. But he was at the gas station that's empty, the Sinclair right there south of
It's a
or
tire-
east of the tower. East of the tower.
Tire store.
Yeah, east of the water tower.
It's right at 70.
He's on the
70
phone.
in North Grand.
Yeah, he was on the phone, and all of a sudden he tells the person he's on the phone with, "I think I'm getting robbed." And the guy was coming up to rob him, and they ended up turning around and shot each other, and they were both laying on the ground shot. That's how.
Yeah.
Smoot got-
Johnny Span was there.
That's-
Oh,
He
for
was
that
there when
incident?
that happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know the guy that was actually shot Smoot. But I cannot remember his name.
It's a
But
span. I
Johnny
don't remember
Span
his
was
name.
there.
I don't know if it was Eddie also or I don't know.
You don't, but the Spans were right up there with the rest of the families. of some
Yeah,
violent-
I think they kind of hung out with like Juan L. Carter and Lanky Larry and all that stuff over more to the 6 Deuce side, I believe. Tony, does that sound right?
Yeah, I think the Spans did kind of hang out with that little group there, but they weren't real tight though. They were good with each other, but they weren't like real tight.
Yeah.
Tony, you remember the guy? I think his first name was Ray. I believe he lived on off of Florissant at Warney, and he got shot in the jaw, and he had a piece of plastic screwed to the side of his jaw, and he did a robbery.
Wow.
I mean, he was identified within 5 minutes. It's like, it's like,
How do you do a lineup with that guy?
yeah, it's like, you know what? Was it Ray Merriweather? Maybe I don't know. It just struck me about.
So he had a plastic jaw and he's out there doing
Yeah, he had
robberies.
an outside like bone screwed to his jaw, and he's out
My
doing
God.
a robbery. And it's like,
That almost tops the finger story.
Yeah.
The finger story is good.
no.
But do you ever remember Terrell Lacey? He went by TT, and he hung out with Stink and all those guys. Well, him and another guy threatened to kill Barney. And I can remember that one. So we had to go get TT, and we ended up getting him up on Plymouth. And yeah, he didn't. he regretted the fact that he tried to kill Barney when it was all said and done. But yeah, that they didn't like. But Barney was on them, spray painted on the walls everywhere. You know,
He was
Barney 187. You know, that was a murder code, wasn't it?
Still is, I think.
Yeah.
They had Barney 187 all over. Did they, Billy? Do you remember those?
Yeah. It was in a lot of places, I'll tell you that.
God love Barney. He came ready to work every day.
God.
He was relentless on those dudes, man.
I never seen Billy's name on the wall, so he must have been doing something right.
Billy, they didn't mess with Billy now. They knew he was from the 6th district.
Name.
They know Billy was fair. He treated him fairly.
They knew Barney was from Prep South. Barney went to Prep South, was going to be a priest. Ended up in the 5th district.
Are you
Did
kidding
not
me?
wind up like he thought.
Wow.
And life took a tremendous turn.
Wow.
From the priesthood to the 5th district.
Phew.
He was a great policeman.
He was good. He could clean up some burglaries for sure.
He worked. What else you got? You got anything for us, Tony? Anything before we wrap this up?
No, not really.
Give us can you give us a long horn? Just let us put your phone up and just give us a long horn real quick.
Hang on now.
Come on.
Make it.
We sound like we're losing you a little bit, Tony. But if we get you back, you could give a quick version of the Hershey story. Although he was from the 5th. It didn't really so much start in the 5th.
Well, let's go. We're sitting here talking about stories. You tell the story.
Well, I don't know if Tony's still on there. We don't see him, so it's harder to refer.
Tony, can you hear us?
All right, so I'll tell you.
There he goes.
So we ended up getting a guy with like 4 or 5 ounces of crack, which was pretty significant, and it gets you in federal penitentiary. And he wants to, like I explained with the bull story, he decides he don't want the problems to come to him. He'll put them on somebody else. So he ends up talking to us, and through his cooperation over a period of, I don't know, probably 2 months. And we're doing this out of mobile, and I'll give Joe Speece, who was my supervisor at the time, all the credit in the world, because he came from intelligence, and he was, previously in DEA. Yeah, you remember he had Silver Spoon life. He was always had good stuff.
He loved to cherish life.
Yeah. So, well, that helped me too, because he had a lot of good skills. He was great with informants, and he spun that from the 3 or 4 ounces to about 7 kilos with Hershey.
Hershey was the main target.
Yeah, Calvin Wallace.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you want to tell us the snitch's name? No.
I don't like him, but I'm not going to tell you his name. And I'm sure he's figured it out by now.
Who, Hershey?
Yeah.
How many years did Hersh get? What was his real name?
Calvin Wallace.
Calvin Wallace?
He probably did about 7 or 8 years off that case, and he's since gotten several cases.
So how did it start? How did you guys originally get the first couple ounces?
Originally, I mean, it was just simple police work, because it was a friend of ours' father said he's got a dope man in his neighborhood, and we're like, he goes, I can see him. And I was like, all right, I'll come over to your house. And I sat there and watched him, and it's like, yeah, we saw some deals, and we ended up doing a search warrant on the house, got a couple ounces. And that guy said, here's who's giving it to me. And then that's the guy we got, and he's like, here's who's getting it. He's got keys coming in.
And you just kept on rolling?
Just kept rolling.
How many people went to jail over the whole thing, you think?
Oh, his brother was one of the main ones, too. He got a decent amount of time, probably about 6 or 7 easily, just off that case.
Right.
Yeah. But it's almost like a crack in the window. They just keep spidering out.
Right.
Yeah.
JJ's fading out on us, I can
No,
tell.
I got to get going to work, actually.
He got fading out. But we're going to wrap this up. Billy, it has been great talking to you. I know you're going to get in
thanks.
town, and when you get in town, we want you to come down to Columbo's, and we'll get you on the show, and we'll talk some more silliness.
All right, I got a lot of stories.
I know you do. Let's wrap this up. Really appreciate everybody. What do you got, Johnny?
I'll send you directions, Billy, to Columbus.
Yeah, I may need them now. It's been a while. All right,
Anybody else got
fellas.
anything?
No, you were great.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
guys.
Billy.
Good stuff, buddy.
Great
Good to see
talking
you.
to you.
Good seeing you, bud.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
See you later.
Communities that support law enforcement are safer places to live. Peace. Everybody out.
Billy's freaking classic.
I thought that was really good.
He's classic.
I thought with Boone on the telling the lady when they shit on herself.
Yeah.
That was a good one. No, I think that one, and I'll even take some of the shit we were talking about at the beginning
Yeah.
and throw it in the middle somewhere.
I
I don't.
think Billy.